Welcome. I'm going to keep working on a little project for fun. Still getting set up, so give me a minute. All right. So what I would like to do is get the Notes app working a touch better. What we need from the Notes app is to be able to post a note and to be able to read it back. That'll be critical for our data replication project. But I don't just want to make a Notes app. I want to try and use different templating, use different SQL interfaces. So this morning, well, morning to me anyways, I'd like to try to get a little template set up. I've got a skeleton of a template set up using Ascama. I chose Ascama because with this project I'm building out, I want it to be as CPU friendly as possible. I want it to use as few resources as it can. And the other templating systems out there are either faster and harder to use or slower and more dynamic. The ones that are slower are arguably easier to use. They let you change the templates and reload as the application's running. We're not gonna bother with that though. So we have the home template. We need to use that. Have this here with some dummy notes in it. The template itself takes a struct called home template that represents the template itself with some notes in it. I'm just checking a couple things real quick. Okay. Just trying to make sure I have chat where I can see it. Okay. Let's look at our template for a moment. Okay, index. Here we extend the base template. We have these different blocks that we can replace. And we're including another template. So this one that we're including, all it does is iterate over notes and lists out the content of the notes. Now, this is currently broken. I haven't fixed it yet. I just know it's broken. We should be getting an error based on this. Coming back here, we have these different blocks that we're replacing. Those are defined in the base template. So here we have the content block. If we don't override it and just use the base, we would see add content. Because we are overriding it, it should be replaced. Now, why isn't this erroring out? Notes doesn't have a property called content. Well, unless a string has content. I don't remember that to be the case. No. Note and notes. So notes is our type here, our member. And when we iterate over it, each one, this should be a stir. Arguably, this is more correct. So why? Oh, something's going on with my editor. There we go. Let's restart the language server. Huh. And we might need to be in Rust when we do that. I am expecting an error to show up right here. And oh, how it teases. Okay. We should run into that. Let's check here. Cargo check -p examples. Oh. Okay. There's something failing upstream. Interesting. So in this case, SQLX wants SQLite version 0.30.1, whereas Rusqlite, it's 0.27. Well, in this case, I would like to get rid of Rusqlite. I want to try. Oh, interesting. That's in the dev dependencies. I would like to try the SQLX. But if I do this, this is going to break so many other things. Particularly, it should break cluster management. Rusqlite. Or maybe we could just get them to use the same version. Let's see. A RescueLite 032.1 uses SQLite 0.30. Well, that's not helpful. See, well, the previous version is 0.30.1, and this is 0.30.1. So maybe I just update. Which one is out of date? I think it's RescueLite. .32.1. It's using the bundled version. I wonder if that will be an issue. Okay, and 0.8.2 is what we want. Which is what we have. Seorm is also in the mix. So this optionally uses 0.8.2 of SQLX. This is version 1.1.1. Just checking. Okay. Wow. Wow, this is out of date. That is incredibly out of date. Is that real? When did they go to version 1? It's amazing. I like Seorm. I like Seorm. Oh, what is Loco? Seography. The GraphQL framework. Okay. The Seorm migration. Let's see if we have to change that as well. It's also 111. There we go. At return reference. Or return value referencing temporary value. Yes, because we are defining those in line. Expected a lifetime. Sure. Okay. Before we get too far, Argo check. Let's do a cargo. Just to see if anything else in the entire workspace was affected by those changes. Looks like it's going to do that stuff on its own. So our router has 3 routes at the moment. Has a get for the health check, which is what the proxy will interact with. It has a route for just slash to get the posts. And it also has a route for posting. And obviously we can't post yet. Out of curiosity, are there ads being shown? Because I do not want them there. I just haven't checked to see if they need to be disabled. So if anybody's getting ads, let me know. You can PM me, and then I'll look into turning them off. So this is just supposed to be kind of a chill hangout thing, not really a money making operation, you know. Okay. Oh, you got ads coming in. Oh, dear. All right. Let's see. Configure stream. I'm clicking through. Oh, might be in this config ads. Welcome to the new ads manager. Let's see. So here, this is what we have. Let's see. How many minutes of video ads do you want to run per hour? Really? Length and frequency. Okay, so I can do automatic. See, this is ads are not scheduled, which is great. General. And thank you, Jane Shadow, for letting me know. I have disabled pre-ads. Okay. Stream display ads. Let's undo that. Sure. Okay. Pre-roll ad notification. Do they not let me turn off ads altogether? Pre-roll ads. When okay. They're only disabled when I run ads. That's great. Maybe during compiling. Yeah, I think the difference is this here. This is what we're seeing. Right? When joining Probably getting hit with an ad because I'm not pre-rolling ads. Let's see, manual. Yeah, those are not scheduled. Yeah. Because I'm not going to be running ads, or I guess I could if I were more cognizant of like compile times and I had it in me to hit the button whenever we're going to be compiling for 30 seconds. Maybe that will work. We'll see how it goes. There we go. Okay. Yep. And now I'm just going to add a little button where it's like a pre-roll ad. Okay. So I'm going to add a button for a 30-second ad break and a minute ad break. There we go. Which I'm not planning to hit. But who knows? Maybe it'll help. Okay. Because I think if I do a full rebuild on this workspace, it's going to take at least a minute, and that would help with keeping the ads where we want them. At least if we can't get rid of them, at least we can put them where they're less obstructive. Okay, well, thank you, and let's continue. There's our home template. It's referencing something that are temporaries. These are still, well, it's expecting a string. Oh. Do I have this wrong? Let's see. We have a reference to an array of stir. Why is this a reference? It's like a slice. Is that works because it could be a reference to a vec or something else. We also need the lifetime for the stirs here. Missing lifetime specifier. In this case, it is static because it's owned. Static is interesting in that it means different things in different places in Rust. In this case, it means that for those lifetimes, they are owned pieces of data that are not borrowed. And these stirs are owned. Okay. Now, what is this code doing? We initialize tracing. Oh, that's going to be on my list of things to rip out. Environment. Okay. Maybe I'll leave it just for a bit. But I'm trying to get rid of my tracing pieces and to use a consistent set of base libraries across my project. And I've landed upon using the Foundations library from Cloudflare just to stop bike shedding. just to choose something. That's good enough, basically. Our database, which is a test database, we set that we want write ahead logging, some batching. Excuse me, why is this a batch? Execute batch. I don't think it needs to be a batch. Regardless, it works at the moment. At the moment, we also have some tests for inserting a number of blobs of text into the SQLite database. And where we're focusing today is on the routes. Okay, so let's get this route referencing actual pieces of data from the database. So here, we need to fetch notes from the database. What else? Then we need to create the template using the notes, fetch the last 5 notes from the database. Let's do that. Now we're going to be using SQLX. I like ORMs, but man, I want to be able to control the overhead in this project, as for me, this is like, if I'm paying for this personally, I'm willing to spend more of my time to make sure that everything is running as fast as possible. Because that's what I have to spend. I have my time. So to me, this is like an absurd optimization of some race car, right? We want it lighter, we want it faster. To make it lighter, we are replacing steel washers with nylon washers here. We're going to the edge of optimization, within reason. So maybe not to the edge, maybe just shy of the edge. So we're going to stick with, let's say SQLX, as it lets us do compile time validation of our queries. Let's see, do we have to enable that? Let's see. SQLite. I think it's just there by default. We're going to use Runtime Tokyo. I think I have those pieces already. I want macros and migrate as well. So I do like the compile time embedded migrations. Let's double check on that. SQLX, SQLite derived macros and migrate. Perfect. So let's find the book for this. They have install, usage, docs, and ecosystem. What is ecosystem? Interesting. Let's click on docs. Fascinating. I thought that I remember having the book open. Is it for something else? I wouldn't put that past me. cargo book. But essentially, we're going to use the query as interface. We will define types as needed, right? And we will select just only what we need. And so we're going to get comfortable with this, pulling as little data out of the database as we can when we're doing queries. So in this case, uh, there's not much. Right? We have a table. Where's our here? We have an ID. We have a note. Quite frankly, we could, for whatever reason, it's a note ID and not just an ID. For this, it doesn't matter. We'll leave the name the way it is. Okay, let's go back up to index. I'm just going to toss some types around here. Struct note. Oh, look at that. I have found GitHub Copilot to be very useful for just a more intelligent IntelliSense. Right? Things that autocomplete better or about this much text. Going beyond that, I really have to look through it, make sure it's correct. Right. So at this point, we're going to use SQLX, query as. Query as. Now, we also want, let's see, we have to give the type, the SQL. Okay, we will not have any parameters here, and we'll fetch all. Oh, we don't have a pool. Okay, we'll have to set that up. So this is going to be note. Select star from notes. Oh, that was close. I'm at 5. Order by note ID descending. Okay. Now, how do we get this set up? Setting database URL for the entirety of the project doesn't make sense. I did see that there is a offline mode for doing the type checking. So maybe we can do this outside of the editor to do the type checking. Let's see. We can do a cargo SQLX prepare. Force building in offline mode. Presence of a database URL environment variable will take precedence over the presence of .SQLX, meaning SQLX will default to building against a database if it can. To make sure an accidentally present database URL environment variable or .env file does not result in cargo build trying to access a database, you can set SQLX offline environment variable to true. And cargo SQLX prepare. How do we get that to work? I don't think that'll just work out of the box. Oh, well, fancy that. Is that because I have SQLX Define or installed already? Cargo bin. Ah, yes. What version is that? Do we need to update that? That is quite old. Cargo update. Let's see, how do we install the latest version? Feels like I did that. Oh, I said update. Here, we're going to try this. 30-second. Boom. Says that pre-roll ads are disabled for 11 minutes. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. That's funny. Hmm, fancy. All right, so at least we have the latest version now. We could call cargo SQLX prepare. We have to give it a database. Oh, wait. What? Dev profile. It's fine. Oh, it's a directory. All right, there's nothing there. Oh, let's see what we have. Generate query metadata. Okay. Run in check mode. Prepare query macros and dependencies that exist outside the current workspace. Database URL. Great, we could do that. Oh, what is this? SQLite create DB write ahead log. We definitely want that. Yes. Great, it's true by default. It's fantastic. Database URL is what? Where is that database? Is it in the top level directory? Is it in examples? Config file. Okay. Loading the extension. Test.db3. We delete it every time? I forgot to look. No, we don't. I feel like we're in a bit of a chicken and the egg problem. How do we compile it if we don't have one of these databases? Guess we could set up our DB migrations first. That might be good practice. Or we could just create one and run this, but it's not the worst idea. Hmm. I could do this. Reverting migrations. Yeah. Remember, I built this before. I used it before. I prefer to not have to ship a directory. For this to be built into the application. But for this Notes app, what did I do before? I think I spent some time on this before. Did I do that with mains? Main. No. This is basically the same thing. It's not that. Where would it be? Itty bitty text. Let's bump that up. Raft DB. Oh, it was in that project. Sorry for the light show there. Let's see. Here, CORM migrations. I got those here. And then this is just used, it gets picked up and is used somewhere. Let's say find all references. That's not it. Okay, but this here is used by Raft. Connect, migrate. Here we go. And this is very, I think CORM specific, but I think I want the same sort of thing with SQLX. So maybe we do a quick little pivot and set that up. Ponder. It would be great if the migrations could be either run command line or automatically. I wonder if it could do that. because eventually I'm going to be shipping code, and it would be nice if when that code opens a database that it can perform the migration. Because I'm expecting many very small databases to exist. So let's see. Oh, yeah, I'm going to close that. Watch your eyes. Flip back over. In fact, let me take that to the other screen. There we go. Okay. So coming back to our notes example, our chicken and the egg problem is that we cannot run query as without having first created a .SQLX file, and that SQLX file has to be created by some sort of migration. Let's see, what do these migrations look like? And I'm going to take a peek at the API first. Let's say, new tab, percent, SQLX. Just use this one. Go to the docs. Modules. Migrate. So let's say there are traits. We have migrate database, source, and migrate. There's a migration, a migrator. What is this? In the default implementation, a migration source is a directory which contains this migration SQL scripts. All these scripts must be stored in files with the names using the format blah. Or version is a string that can be parsed into an I64. Its value is greater than 0. And description is a string. Great. So it seems as though files that don't match will be ignored. Migrations for each database are tracked with a table. Perfect. Okay. Now, I wonder, given that this is a trait, we could probably embed these. So we have a migrator. See migration source for details. We just looked at migration source. Set locking, iter, version exist, run. So we can give it a path and it can do its thing. It seems very interesting. It lets us have some sort of path where we have the migrations. It does mean we would have to ship some directory along with it, along with the application. Unless we could give it something else. What does it want? It wants source, where source is a migration source. So as long as we have something that implements migration source, we could bake these in. Just include them in the actual source of the app. They wouldn't be large. We wouldn't have to worry about configuring them on the deployment boxes. As long as we could find the binary, it would work. Okay. I'm liking it. Liking it. It does mean we would have to create something, and it would give us the ability to work locally. We could just run these against a database, which is not bad. Okay. Well, first, let's get this set up with command line. Let's move this to the end. You know. Oh, interesting. You can have reversible and irreversible migrations. Hmm. Hmm. Fascinating. For the first one, let's say migrations add, create database, notes database. There we go. Where did it put that? In migrations. Lovely. Add migration script here. And this is just SQL, isn't it? SQL. Okay. Lovely. No Ruby or TypeScript. It's just SQL. I like it. Let's take her database creation blob, wherever that is. Here it is. Let's take the moment to clean up the ID. Let's have ID and note. Like, close that. So this will need to be done ahead of time. Okay. I think for now, for this, it's okay to it's sorry, I got distracted reading some source. It's okay for us to create the database locally. This is a test app. It's for development. We just need to make sure that it's just as easy as possible for developers. We want to install the recommended SQL extension for SQL files. Of course. Of course we do. Why wouldn't we? All right, creating migrations done. Now, how do we migrate? SQLX migrate / help. Okay. Path to folder containing migrations. It defaults to migrations. I was concerned about this because this is an examples folder. Perhaps we rename this migrations to notes migrations. So we will need to provide the source, a database URL. Okay. What was it? Source? Yes, source. Source is equal to notes migrations with the database URL. No equals, right? It's just a space. Okay, let's fix that. And this we want to be test DB3. Unable to open database file. Yes, I figured my format is wrong. Or is there a create target version? No. The error specifically was unable to open it. Okay, let's. Interesting. It didn't actually create it. So we actually have to do something with it. Schema, recover, quit once. Hmm. Oh, SQLX database create. Huh. Okay. Oh, forgot that step. Looks very similar. Database URL. Database URL test.db3. It's a relative URL without a base. Without a base. Is that what they mean? It is. Okay. So that's the first command. The next command. So we'd run the migrations. Looks like it ran. Just capturing those for later. I did the same one twice. I did not mean to do that. Create this one. Applied, migrate, notes database. Great. Okay, now that that has happened, we're going to go way back because now we want the offline migrations, the offline checks. Argo SQLX prepare. Database URL, I'm guessing. Yep. Okay. Profile, great. Let's see. What happened in the .SQLX directory? Is there anything in there now? There isn't. That's unexpected. What are we missing? Prepare query macros in dependencies? No. Workspace. It feels like it's not seeing it, or we haven't used it. Hold on, let's check. Notes. Okay. Query as, yeah, we want that database URL disabled. I feel like that should have worked. Maybe this needs to be higher up. Oh, I see. So all targets, all features. This is interesting. We want examples. Okay. Prepare. So we give that everything it needs. Then we give cargo what it needs. Interesting. What do we have here? Unable to open database file. It's because we're doing a SQLX prepare. Resolved import. Great. Okay, we can go fix that. Cluster management. Yeah, we're not. We're basically not doing that. Okay, let's fix the issues. Notes. Rescue. Yeah, we're not using this anymore. Going to comment this out for a moment. Line 74. Okay, how do we open with SQLX? Let's convert this. Modules. Pool. Opening a connection pool. Does it actually need to be a pool for this? Probably, because we're going to hand it to Axum. Axum will have to pull connections from the pool. Well, options, structs. Wait, it's saying that for convenience, database specific type aliases are provided. Great. Where are they? SQL app. Oh, it's higher up. Modules, SQLite. At the bottom here, SQLite pool. It's a type alias. Great. Pool of SQLite. We connect to a specific place. SQLite pool. Connect. We want path here. Interesting. In this case, we were giving a file system path. Guess we could do the same thing by doing what Copilot was suggesting with the format and whatnot. Yeah, like that. Path to string lossy. This is just a testing tool. We will fail. So we have a DB pool. Now in this case, how do we get an element from the database pool? Acquire. So we connect. Great. What is begin? Retrieves a connection and immediately begins a new transaction. Okay. Acquire. This returns a future. Retrieves a connection from the pool. Interesting. That'll get us a pool connection. Pool connection. Is it deref to something? Derefs to connection. Or a connection we can call begin on, or transaction. It makes sense. We wanted to implement drop, so it goes back into the pool. Yeah, that transaction signature. How you doing, Museum? It seems like they've done this like, so it's interesting that it's a returning a pinbox feature. Yeah. And because even if you use the new async trait functionality in the latest version of Rust, I don't think you can. Can you describe it as pinbox feature? I know there's what was it? It was another way to annotate the async traits so they can be send and sync and whatnot. I don't remember seeing anything about them being boxed. All right. So we will acquire. Hmm. Is that real? I don't remember seeing two acquires. One takes a self. There's only one. Takes a reference to self. It must be confused. Oh, it's on the deref? SQLite pool doesn't implement deref. This one. Hmm. Now that we have a connection, we can execute some SQL here. It's an acquired trait. Yeah, and I don't see that it was implemented on that type. At the SQLite pool, which is, of course, pool. Oh, it is. It's on. Oh, the type alias doesn't show it. So here with pubstruct pooldb, we see that it implements acquire, but on SQLite pool, which is a type, obviously that pool implements it, but we do not see, we don't see that that trait is implemented here. Oh. Okay. Good learning. Let's see, I got about, let's see, 35, 40 minutes left. So let's see what we can do. Where were we? SQLX, we were going to pass a connection to a query. This is Z. Yes, it is. Well, you know, when it's not Firefox. Z I find to be laid out like it's fast. I don't see it getting in my way. It's very quick. The updates happen, I think, almost daily, which is almost annoying. The way that it suggests extensions, those are nice. It has support for GitHub Copilot, which I'm just trying to make sure I'm comfortable with all the tools and all the new tech that's coming out. Old engineer, white beard, all that. Trying to stay up on tech. I also like that it integrates with Ollama, which I run locally occasionally, although I have not been using it lately. The editing's nice. The Vim, key bindings are nice. I'm having to relearn them as I've been using Helix forever, the past couple of years. So, all in all, I think it's good. It feels like a slimmed down performant Visual Studio. The layout engine seems to be good enough. You can move pieces around. You can dock them just by clicking on a tab and dragging it. It doesn't have a lot of kind of a like insane configurability like Visual Studio does, but I find it does just enough for me. Yeah, it's different. It is different. When you tried it out, you kept getting confused because it's very similar to Visual Studio Code. Yeah. Okay. Let's continue porting this. SQLite pool. How do we use this? SQLX. CRE made for getting started. Sure. Blah, blah, blah. We have a pool. All right, and we pass the pool as a parameter here. We're not expecting anything for a return type. I wonder, because we do expect to set this up with journal mode and whatnot, but also wherever it went, we were loading the extension. We should probably keep that extension configured. Where was that? Let's go back to the docs. So SQLite connection options does have a VFS parameter. I saw this the other day. Lots of options. A value of SQLite connect options can be parsed from the connection URL. Implements from stir, great. Oh, interesting. Okay, yep, read only, etc. Wow, there are more than I was expecting. In memory, journal mode, logging mode. Can we pass this to the database pool? Which, I mean, it seems ridiculous for SQLite. Just, you know, I get that Postgres, MySQL, etc. Those connections probably not clonable, but a SQLite connection is really a file handle, which arguably is clonable. So, what are the limits on connection? Connection, okay, it's a trait. Of course. Database connection, where the database is the type parameter. It's send and sync. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Oh, SQLite pool options. Thank you. An alias for pool options specialized for SQLite. Oh, lovely. X connections. Interesting. You can have a limit to the number of connections. Oh, well, this is describing a pool. Of course. SQLite doesn't care about that really. Minimum connections. Okay, this is max lifetime. I'm looking for VFS. How do we provide the other arguments? Connect with options, connection option. Ah, so we could use connect with in order to pass the VFS parameters, or we just put it in the URL. Yeah. And SQLite connect options implements connect options which you can pass to connect with. Yeah. Okay. The docs on the current version don't have source. I keep clicking on source. Keep wanting to know how it's wired up. Okay. So we create a SQLite pool options, configure it if we want, and then call connect with, where we pass the SQLite options, and then we get a resulting pool. Great. So let's try that. Just going to get that here instead of load extensions. Let SQLite options equals SQLite connect options. New file name is not memory. If missing, yeah, sure. Or do we want that? I do want VFS. VFS, I want set to this. I'm curious to see if so with Rusculite, I was using load extension to load a VFS. I didn't see the explicit ability to load a VFS. So I'm curious to see whether or not this behaves the same way. If I tell SQLX we want a VFS, it sets it, and then later it just becomes part of the URL, which is what I would expect. Love to see how this works out. So we have that. It's not going to be in memory. I want it to be, I want the journal mode to be WAL. SQLite journal mode. Write ahead logging, because that's all I support for the replication. But I think that's creative missing. I'm going to say false at the moment. So we have our options. Let SQLite pool options. That is a SQLite pool options. New max connections. Sure. And it's not called connect options. It's called connect with. Connect, was it? Yeah, connect with. And this is actually a SQLite pool. What did I just do? Okay. So we have our connection here, or our pool. Oh, interesting. But we don't give the pool the information on where to find the file. Okay. That's going to be in the first file name. Okay. Which we could get from here. We have our pool. We do not need this DB pool. We have it connected in journal mode with WoW already. Great. Oh, does this return a future? Oh, yes, async function. Okay. It returns a result. Great. We're just going to bail here. This is just a little test tool, so I'm not handling the errors as gracefully as we would elsewhere. So we call acquire. It returns a future to a result. Yeah, great. Now we have a connection. Um, Now with query as, we are expecting to pass connection. Query as dot. Oh, I see. Okay. Sure. Dot wait. Dot unwrap. Don't care. Just for this little test, but we do need the pool. So we have to set the pool up. We'll come back to the migrations. Ignore that. Ignore repopulating the database. We need to give the database pool as a resource to Axum. I don't remember how to do that. Let's look at Axum documentation. See, do we have that open? Routing, handlers, extractors. Here we go. An extractor is a type that implements from request or from request parts. Responses, error middleware. State. Sharing state. It is common to share state between handlers. For example, a pool of database connections or clients to other services. Using the state extractor, great. Request extension using closure captures. We will look at just having app state. You should prefer using state if possible. It's more type safe. Okay. Let's do that. So we want to add a with state. Is that, let's see, that's on the chain of routes. I suppose it could be on a specific route as well, but with state, app state, we'll create that. Goodness. New. Yeah. Hmm. DB pool. Let's rename this DB pool and get rid of that. Just for a moment. DB pool, great. Now we need app state. Pools. Now it should just be SQLite pool. Okay. Anything else? We have our structure. State. Oh, then we need to pull that out. Okay, in our handler, which is up here, index. Sort type. Oh, yes, we will need to extract that from our main function. Let's take that out of there. We'll drop that up above somewhere. We'll clean this up. The structure of it will organize a bit more as it takes a bit more shape. Oh, we have app.db state. Great. Index. We are extracting the state. We need to give the pool state.db pool. Lovely. It still is complaining about database URL, which we haven't been able to successfully run Cargo SQLX prepare yet. We'll get to that. Is that the only error we have? No. Maybe? Cluster, load, notes. Why don't we just comment out the other examples? We're really not using them. Load and cluster. We're only using example at the moment. Okay, data archive, fine. Where's our errors? Notes? Yes, okay. We see that. That's 2. Where's the third one? Oh. Machine state entries, RAFDB models. Oh, that must have changed. Probably a side effect of our upgrade. Not touching it for the moment. Let's come back here. Unable to open database file. Database URL, SQLite test DB3. Test DB3 is there. It exists. Oh, the error warning view. Yeah, I like that as well. The other neat thing about this warning and error view is that you can edit, you can multi-edit. So if you had to change cursors in 3 different files at the same time to fix an error, you can. It's really nice. And it lets you jump into a specific file if you want. What is that? It's for me, it's Option Enter to jump in. Oops. I'll save. Great. Failed to load workspaces. Really? Okay. Cannot compile examples due to one previous error. Cargo check failed. Error returned from database. How do I use nightly to get a better error on this? Cargo. Plus nightly. Okay. All right. We're going to kick off the ads for 30 seconds while it's compiling. All right, and we're back. The dash Z flag is for okay. Oh, on the right side. Got it. Let's try that. Dash Z. Oh, I see, I see. Something to do now. Not the SQLX stuff, yes. um, see, I'm actually trying to run it. See, set this. So you're suggesting that we set this first. Okay. So my goal here is to not require that the database URL environment variable is set while we're running this. Maybe we should just set that so we can get past this. We have some little db.sh file for creating and migrating. But where would we set this env? Would we tried setting it here, but it's obviously not picking this flag up. Oh, fancy. Look at this. In this expansion of SQLX query as, in this macro invocation, oh, this is a nice error. Cannot compile examples. Okay. Unable to open database file. So, but it doesn't say why it's unable to open the database file. Is it because it doesn't exist? It's not looking at the relative path. I see. So maybe this here should be examples slash, which is strange because the other commands we ran, which had SQLX, blah, did this. But when we compile with a workspace, or maybe when we compile using prepare, it's using a different context somehow. This probably isn't going to work. getting it out of my system. Great. Unable to open. Okay, let's try. Examples. That's a different error. So this one, much more info. This one with the examples in it. Just boom. Code 14 versus code 14. Okay, same code. Oh, is this a SQLite error? All right, let's try to give it a full path. What is that here? Users, the Halstead, Rust, source, reverb, examples. That should be it. Code 14 is SQLite. Oh, great. Oh, thank you for checking that. Oh. Okay. Oh, it's source Rust. I have my paths backwards. It did something else. Oh, look at that. It's validating my SQL. Oh, I love this. That is brilliant. I compile time checked SQL. Why wouldn't you want that? Maybe if you hate types. But if you hate types, you wouldn't be using Rust. And unless you're being forced to use Rust, I guess. Order by ID. Okay. Near order. Is order by SQLite test? Oops. Oh, it's before the limit. You put the order by before the limit. Select from nodes, order by that limit. Limit 5. Great. Okay. Oh, and the query has been written to that location. Lovely. Okay. So now this query is validated. That is crazy. Oh, I love it. just just smiling. Got this big old grin on my face. Okay. Okay. I like the fact that you can have migrations and database checks and all of these niceties with Rust and then it's evolved quite a bit in the past 4 years. This one actually resonates with me. It really does. Okay. So now that we have that and we have a SQLX file, checking for updates to the JSON language server. Great. Um, how do we get it to pick up this information? Workspace reload. Huh. I ran this earlier. What was it? LSP. Oh, I'm in the wrong place. Yes, I was in the terminal. Got it. Okay. Just want to restart the LSP for Rust. I want to see if it will pick that up. Oh, is it okay now? Is it done? Looks like it's done. Nice. Okay. So at this point, we should have received our results. Our notes. And notes here. So vector of note. Great. And I'll find note in the scope. Oh, it's in the parent. Yeah, we know. We got this. We'll come back to that. So we do a query, we pass the data to our template, and then our template iterates for every note in notes. Note dot. Oh, did we call it note? So it's now note dot note. Be okay. On here, we do not need the lifetime. Oops. Great. Okay, that works. Lovely. Ergo. We'll go run. Dash P examples. Or can we just say example? I did mean notes. Thank you. right, so we would have to give this a config file. Config file, that's going to be /dev one. I don't know. AppDB? No. What is the config file? And what is it getting out of the config file? Oh, it's loading the environment out of it. So that would be dev1.env. No such file, no such VFS. Oh, is it relative from here? Okay. That's fine. Let's. No such VFS. Fascinating. Target debug lib reverb VFS. It should not need the extension. Okay, let's try this as the extension variant. Extension. Oh, the editor is being so helpful. You can use env cargo target dir. Oh, very nice. And then we can pass that directly in. Okay. Let's see. Let's do that. That looks like a reverb extension. Thank you, Museum. Cat env. So we take the cargo target directory and cat that with debug and okay. The reverb looks correct. 1, 2, okay. ENV, where does this come from? Is this standard ENV? Oh, environment variable cargo targeter not defined at compile time. Did I misspell this? Ah, it's all right. Well, that should be in a config somewhere. Okay. So at this point, unable to open database file, which is probably because the environment file is not expecting us to run it from that location. Let's go up one directory. similar to something in the create root. That's true. Yeah. Now, cargo manifest path, will that be for the workspace or the crate? Oh, could not load environment. Fancy. Why couldn't we load the environment? Because we're doing dot dot in this other location. Yeah. Message. Yeah, this. I'm just trying to get this done before I got to sign off. Oh, great. And we should be able to connect to it. Now, what was the port? I forget what port we gave it. 8181. Really? Oh, it timed out connecting. Well, that's interesting. All right. Well, I think we'll leave it there for a bit. I gotta head out. Thanks for hanging out. It's been fun. So until next time, y'all. Take care.